Welcome to Have Fun Talks, the podcast where we will be discussing and deep dive into women-led innovation and gender-conscious investment. I'm Milena Stojceva, your host, and today I have the pleasure to interview Taryn Andersen. Taryn Andersen is the CEO and co-founder of Impulse for Women, a platform that empowers women entrepreneurs. Her role also as an investor relations director at THCAP Venture Capital and jury member of the EIC Acceleration Program further underline her expertise and commitment to the startup ecosystem. Taryn Andersen's dedication to supporting female-led startups is truly inspiring. I was reading through her biography and I saw that she's very passionate about supporting and finding ways to drive further growth of female founders and entrepreneurs, both in Europe but also elsewhere. So I am happy to discuss with Taryn today some topics that we have brought together through her fund project, but also some other meetings and discussions we have had with key players and stakeholders in the innovation landscape in Europe. But what I would particularly like to stress is that we often are looking toward women in investment as role models who can inspire and who can be leaders in bringing others to the forefront and also expanding this topic. Today, I would like to ask Taryn to start with a few questions that may be a little bit more on a personal level. And let me ask you, Taryn, what motivates you to invest in women-led startups? Is there a special focus for that? And what are the specific qualities you look for them or you look for in these businesses which they are starting?
Hi, thank you very much. And first, thank you for having me in Her Funds podcast. It's a pleasure. And regarding your question, what motivates me to invest in women-led tech startups? Basically, the first thing is the way that females were approaching business, the long-term strategy that we are taking into account, the way that we present cash flows, and the holistic overview that we're given when we set up an idea, when we set up the concept, and when we go to market. Females are normally, in general terms, and from my opinion, we are taking more time to sit in front of an investor, but we are much more secure and we have all the basics already done before going to see an investor.
It's interesting you mentioned something how we approach cash flows. I was particularly intrigued. What do you mean? Can you expand a little bit on that?
Yeah, we are more realistic, which means that in 80% of the times when a female shows you the cash flow or for the next 18 months, you always have to tell them to push it a little bit higher, because there are sometimes that is coming something, a name that you are not taking into account, like social insurance for CSR, no, social responsibility insurance, or lawyers that you will have to need them in the future and you're not expecting them into the budget. Yeah, normally we're too realistic, and it could be 5% minus plus.
Yeah, you were saying, so women are much more realistic and down to earth in a way. This is what I'm hearing. And maybe
Yes.
not as ambitiously projecting success. So it's quite an interesting perspective. I never thought of this up to now. You're giving us a good food for thought. And what are
it's conservative.
It's more conservative. Okay.
Yes.
All right. So what are the key metrics and performance indicators that you look for when evaluating women-led startups for investment?
Well, now talking from the venture capital perspective, each investor, we have a ticket size and a maturity. And regarding this, we have different type of metrics. In our case, as we are a venture capital for the seed phase, we are taking into account metrics like the monthly revenue returns. When one startup, normally VCs, we are investing when the startup is starting to have some monthly metrics. In our case, we like to overview them and meet them when they are starting to have 10,000 euros per month. Next month will be 15,000, the next one 25Ks. And this is the moment that we are starting to analyze the startup and to get into. Also, another important metric is the pre-money valuation of the company. We're not going further than more than 2 million euros. Once that they go one step forward, it's not for us. It's not our slot of investment. So there are some things that is important to know, depending of how big is the ticket size or the round that you're looking for, because the type of investor will be different depending on these criteria. Also, if you're as a startup that you're much more focused in a business to consumer more than to a business to business, for us, it will be very important to see how many users do you have, which will be the retention of those users in order to understand how much marketing investment do you have. That's what we call it, the CAC, the cost of acquisition client. What does it mean? How much do you have to spend in marketing tools in order to receive new and retain users?
I see you were mentioning quite practical tips on and insights on how women can approach this. Is there any difference between what you would be looking for in women-led startups and companies or not? I mean, I'm just curious to see, because what you are pointing out here, I would believe would be general comments to anyone who is applying for VC funding, right?
Yeah. Actually, here are two different overviews. One, as a venture capital that we're investing, we're receiving all the deal flow, and we already have our checking list. And doesn't matter if you're male or female. We just want you to have
it's actually a checklist and questionnaire that you have where you would be looking for the key aspects of why you would be investing, right? Yeah.
We're looking for these metrics that we were talking previously about. There are more metrics for sure, but in general terms, the most important things is the problem you're solving. If there's a need in the market, how are your returns, your team, your clients, and your exit. That's to make it super simple. That's the keys that we are always following. And it's true that you got a fundamental part behind all this checklist, no? That is a team. You have to have a feeling with the founder, to trust her, to have both ways. It's not only that they can like you will also have to like her, and vice versa. And it's a long-term relationship, specifically depending on the time that you are getting into the startup. So the team is one of our basic points. The first is the team, the second is the team, and the third is the team. Because the stage where we're investing, we don't really know that they are going to make a scale up or not. We're just in the middle of this chain and pushing to that startup to make it happen to the next level and to have another bigger investors in the later on. Okay.
But have you noticed any difference between you as a female investor and your other partners or bigger part of the community who are looking into, let's say, female-led startups versus male-led?
Here is something important. VC already received 1,000 startups per year on their table. They do not need to go outside to get anything. So unless that females are approaching those investors, knocking the door and introducing the deck, they're not going to be looking for them.
So you were saying that there is a need for proactiveness on part of the founders. This is how the VCs look at them, right? Okay.
Yeah, we receive deal flow from different ways. One is because my co-investors, VCs, are calling me and telling me, hey, I really like that startup. Would you like to get in? That's one thing. Another one, we got references from our other startups that they are in our portfolio.
Yes.
We do have references from LinkedIn that they're coming and they're knocking the door. We are going to events, we're meeting people permanently. And that's the way that we receive deal flow. So it's true that today there are less females in the market than males, and we receive much more males. But I think that since 2017, when we started to support female lead tech entrepreneurs, connecting them with investors through Impulse for Women, I saw how the percentage of females starting to lead tech startups have been increasing very, very high. By the time 2017, we found that maybe there were a little more, but I founded 150 startups only in Spain. Today there are 1,000 around, and they could be more than 1,000. That's as long as I know. So we could see how it's exponentially growing. But all these females, they have to go also to see the funds and the VCs, because if not, they will not make one step forward to go to check something that they already receive it by themselves.
So what I'm hearing is already a trend that with the popularity and with the raised awareness that there are opportunities for investment, and you are making such decisions, really investing in some of these type of companies that more apply. So this is one of the trends. What are the trends? Yeah, and I mean, the more popular it becomes, of course, there would be more interest and there is more deal flow, and there of course would be a higher percentage of investments made in female-led companies. Is there another investment trend or other investment trends that you are seeing on the innovation landscape currently that you would like to share or maybe recommend to our female?
Yeah. Regarding the new trends is the way that AI is being involved right now in almost all our society, and it's getting in general. The first time that we started investing in 2013 in the first startup with AI has nothing to do as what does it mean today. Now it's starting to be something generic that students from high school are integrating that in the daily. So this is another next step. And those startups that they have an education tech startup that they have been making it, I really recommend to all of them to start to check what they could make a better, how they can go to the next level thanks to the AI tools. It's not so expensive as it used to be to set up, and there's a lot of tools in the market that you can acquire, and they're macro, and they help you to grow. And the most important thing for an investor, more than the gender, is the team, and how are you going to make it happen, and which is the competition, and how are you getting the pricing, how are you getting your business. I mean, metrics are not depending of a gender at all to invest.
Well, I'm hearing also something else that actually is I find very good and very relevant. That you are saying there is interest also in deep tech and the new technology, and it doesn't matter whether you're a woman or a man, and whether there isn't any differentiation. If your company has value, actually there will be certain investment interest in that company. But on the other hand, we're seeing the statistics, which is really hard to accept, that there is still the percentage of women-led startup investments. It's much lower. It's actually dramatically lower than the one by men-led. So how can we encourage more investors to be aware of this and be in a way more gender conscious? Is there a need for that to support this type of initiatives and also projects like her fund?
Yep. I only going to be gonna give my own opinion. I think that males should know the way that the females likes to interact with an investor. It's not gonna be like a male. That's something that have to completely change his hat and sit and understand. Not understand, that's not the proper word. It's like to know how the females like to set up a company. As I said previously, we are much more conservative. We are taking much more attention about risk. We are much more holistic. It takes longer for us because we are much more slowly, but more perseverant and very constant, no? And males could come with a passion project and like a hot potato, and they could sell an idea just with passion. Female will never do it like that. Female also, in general terms, they rather prefer to sit down to have a coffee and explain you little by little everything, more than going and trying to go to a super big theater and go on stage and talk to, I don't know how many thousands of investors could be there, you know? If you give them the possibility, and I did it, and I tested myself, I asked it to 50 females to go on stage, and only 3 said yes. I was asking the other one, why you're not going on stage? And they were, no, I'm not prepared yet. I don't want to go. I don't need it. And then I turned it to the other side because it was not so many females going on stage. So I couldn't close the spot, and then I give them the possibility to make a one-to-one. Then it was 50 from 50.
So it's a different approach on how
different completely
present, on how you interact. It's maybe a different perspective on how you see the impact you're making. And this is very, very important because these are actually, there is a need for a little bit more personalized and aware type of approach is what I'm hearing from you.
From the male perspective, taking into account that only we have females in Europe. From the 100% of the VCs, only 20% of females are in the teams. And from this 20%, we talk of 2% making decisions. So we need to raise this percentage for sure.
Yes.
That's one thing. And the second one, that's a big shout out. We need more females starting to invest.
Yes.
There are a lot of females that they could afford 5,000 euros per year. There are a lot of communities that they're doing. We're personally from Impulse for Women, we're giving also courses in order to bring more females together and do it, all of them, a little group, and put this money and teach you how to do it with real cases. I mean, we need more females coming into the field This is a real drama that we're not taking into account. And we can not only point, it's true that there are only males there, but also we need females. And they know it's so important, a woman that knows about accounting, that a woman that knows about HR or logistics or whatever, because all of them together, they got a little piece of knowledge that they will give a lot of value to the startup that they are going to invest, all of them together.
So you were saying that we need more education also among women to become investors, to become investor ready. And also
there's education there are education already
to becoming investors, right?
Yes.
And to understand that in the end it's not I mean such a different space to be in. You can do it. It's just like other areas. So it's not achievable. It's actually quite attainable. And that it's important, it's critical for women to also feel that they have other women who are on the other side of the table and who are interested to look into that investment opportunity with them, right?
Correct.
So in closing, what would you say, how can we, through this project, also expand mentoring, funding opportunity? Where do you think we could make the biggest difference for changing this ratio on the market and for leading this paradigm shift about the statistics for women-led startups?
Mentoring is very important for specifically for those ones that they are starting, because there are a lot of mistakes that a lot of people has made, and they only cut your time to success much more quicker. If you got a good mentor next to you, you will avoid some mistakes, or you will get solutions much more quicker, and also shows you how to make a decision to validate it in a quick, shorter time in order to keep moving forward or changing or pivoting the business model. All these things, when you got a mentor, really your time to success or to scale up or to growth is much more quicker than not having anyone. For sure, there are some startups that we have saw that they really make it incredible, but in general terms, it really helps a lot. Specifically, those ones that they are arriving before a scale up or growth position into the market.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Taryn. It's been really insightful to hear your side of the story. And also, I appreciate very much the practical suggestions and in depth with which you approached how to support for more women to build confidence, to build resilience, and to become entrepreneurs, to enter that space. It's great to have you on the podcast, and looking forward to continue working together through her fund and other projects. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Have a nice day.
You too.